Hey, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible. And I was working with a couple clients this week, and I noticed some interesting, patterns in some of the behaviors of either men that a client was talking to, or one of my clients is partnered with someone. They're in a monogamous relationship. And it occurred to me why this thing kind of keeps coming up, but it happens so often that women need to take a step back, especially if you are a woman out here who is a part of like the core demographic that I work with, or single professional women who are 35 and up. Abuse has been normalized in our day-to-day. Look at social media. A man can call a woman everything except a child of God. He can call her out of her name, out of her race. He can be degrading. He can be derogatory. And he has a whole public platform to do it. And this is normalized. And then you, of course, have like the incel manosphere, red pill movement. I know they're not all one and the same, but they're closely related. You get my point. And men who are being really indoctrinated and radicalized into a lot of entitled and problematic behaviors and mindsets to reinforce this really toxic sense of masculinity and patriarchy and all those things. So abuse has been normalized. And one of the things that came up in a couple client sessions this week was the fact that DARVO is so second nature to an abuser. And as I said, abuse has been normalized. The men out here who behave this way have been radicalized through being abused and disrespected by the content creators that they watch and consume. And they then take this anger they have out on others. So what is DARVO? So DARVO is an acronym that stands for Deny, Attack, and Reverse Victim and Offender. This is a technique that will occur, I'm just looking on Wikipedia to give you like a clear definition, will occur if a person confronts someone who is attacking them, disrespectful to them. A lot of times the first response to the person whose behavior is being called out is to deny it. Then they will attack the person and assume the victim role. See, every ism is the same if you really think about how it works. Different groups are impacted, but every ism is the same. They will deny it, then they will attack the person who's trying to call them out because they want to recenter themselves in the narrative. Then they'll reverse victim blame through things like gaslighting and manipulation, etc. And then they, are offended by it. So it's, the abuser denies the abuse ever took place. When confronted with evidence, the abuser then attacks the person that is being abused and or the person's family or friends, whatever, for attempting to hold the abuser accountable for their actions. And finally, the abuser claims that they are actually the victim in the situation, thus reversing the positions of the victim and offender. It often involves not just playing the victim, but also victim blaming, where someone says, you made me do that, or you made me say that. This is abusive behavior, and it's become so normalized on social media. You need to really educate yourself. This is the only way that women can identify these behaviors early and honestly block men and get them away from you and out of your life quickly. So because this normalization of abusive behaviors in our day-to-day via social media mainly, and then certain content that really is radicalizing a lot of men, both young and older, it is imperative that if you're out here and you're dating or you're in a relationship, you really educate yourself about abuse. It's grim, but it's necessary because things are more prevalent today and more widely seen as acceptable than they ever have been before in modern times. So educate yourself about abuse because abuse has been normalized, and the word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is DARVO. Learn it, Google it, read more about it. You will probably be able to identify very, very quickly people that you've dealt with or are dealing with or talking to that engage in this very tactic.